Hi, my name is Chris Sadler. I'm the Director of Human Resources for the Sun Prairie Area School District. And today I'm presenting on a proposal for 2026-2027 Employee Handbook updates on August 13, 2026. Just a quick history of handbook. Generally, we do bring handbook revisions to the school board for proposal on an annual basis, usually somewhere in the spring of each school year. This is usually after a year of work with different employee groups to clarify handbook language and add things to the handbook that might be legally based or some type of change in our environment. Um, but handbooks can be revised at other times for individual updates for a lot of different reasons. Again, legal changes, policy changes, societal changes, technological changes. There's a lot of things that can come of that. Tonight's changes really come out of when a proposal was brought in June. There was a need for clarifying our K-5 special area professional educator expectations around what is full-time status, and then what also is what happens when somebody falls below full-time status, what can be assigned to them to create like full-time status for them. So two times this summer on June 23rd and then again on July 20th, I met with a small group of representatives, special area professional educators and leaders for professional educators to either create language or maybe clarify language that we already have in our handbook. That are specifically, again, focused around special area professional educator FT status, some traveling professional educator language, prep time language, and then just some small changes in clarification around extra work. None of these changes are will have an financial impact, just very clarifying language. And I am going to go into that now, go a little more technical in it. So one of the things is a brand new edition. There is no current language that is in our handbook that is as detailed as what you'll see in the right side of the pink area of proposed language. So I'm going to start off at top. It's focused on FTE status and work schedule. It talks about the ranges of amount of sections that we consider as full-time. These ranges have not changed, at least in my time being in this role. And the only thing that we're defining a little clearer is our LMS, like section count. So art and LMS, they're 45 minutes a week. They meet with each section or each class once a week. And we have defined art as 24 to 26 sections as like a full-time range. LMS has 30-minute checkout or 30-minute lesson and 15-minute checkout at schools. So we're kind of equating those two as 45 minutes a week. Music and PE, those meet 30 minutes a week or 30 minutes a class period. Music meets with each class twice a week at 30 minutes. PE meets with them 3 times a week. And generally, depending on the school, if the sections are more than a full-time status for PE with meeting 3 times a week at 30 minutes, then we're usually sharing like staff between schools to do that as best as we can. And again, for purpose of clarity, each section is 45 minutes for art LMS and 30 minutes for music and PE. If professional educator, special area professional educator falls below those minimum like ranges, they can be assigned duties to be considered full-time. For the purpose of clarity, I put some examples in here. I'll do a music example. If a music teacher is assigned 36 sections, because there's 18 classrooms in a school, 18 times 2 is 36. That teacher can be signed up to 6 sections of duties because the low range of full-time is 42. So 6 times 30 is 180 minutes a week of duties outside of their teaching expectations and prep expectations. You can see below that in section B, it talks about when assigning duties, a supervisor should, the number one thing is to look at the safety and security of the school around the students and staff. So that those duties should be like kind of high priority, making sure that our transportation like bus pickup, drop off, and parent pickup and drop off, and recess, and hall monitoring, that's all fully supervised as best as we can with our staff. So that should be the number one focus. Number two is, when possible, assign duties that are aligned to the professional educator's licensure. And that's around possible duties could include classroom support, morning meetings, meeting with students. You can kind of see the list as it goes down. You can see the more safety pieces like recess supervision, building substitution to make sure that if we have an open class that we have a certified teacher in there substituting for whoever might be out. And then when I say collaborative design duty, it's kind of like what we talked about before, is that if we can find a duty that aligns with somebody's already work, and that could be making up a class that maybe we didn't have school on Monday, but now, on Thursday, there's time in a person's schedule that we can place that class again, that would make sense to me, as it aligns with what they're doing or what we hired them to do in the first place. So that's just one example. There's clubs, but we want that to be a collaborative effort between the supervisor and educator. Something we couldn't do just because of like where we are now, but in the future, we put this language in there that, we have special area chair people. We'll have to work with LMS to provide that. But then that a human resources representative and an elementary principal representative meet in the summer, generally before July 15th, just to go over schedules of like how people are assigned so it can be consistent among the buildings. So that's the main addition. Some things that we wanted to make sure were clear or clearer were first around like traveling professional educators. You can see the old language or the current language on the left, the updated language on the right. The things that are changed or added are in bold and italics. You can see that it kind of defines that if the traveling teacher is a full-time FTE level, within the school day, they won't be assigned duties or advisory if the traveling educator is full-time FTE level. If a traveling educator is not full-time status, and their numbers of section, then when you take that travel time and you equate that into FTE, if they're still below that range, then you again can assign duties based on the section we just added. And then for the purposes of just making sure we calculate FTE status correctly, each travel is considered like one section because we're giving about a half hour, 15 minutes to 30 minutes to get from one place to the next. And that equates to 0.025 FTE, which we actually have always done. Now we're just making sure it's clear in the language. A couple other pieces, preparation time. You can see the current language on the left, and that language talks about kindergarten through grade 5, including elementary specials. We went a little bit further there and added, like, for all professional educator roles, that they should get a minimum of a 30-minute prep per day when possible. We do know that, a fire alarm could happen, a drill, whatever it might be, could get in that way. But for the most part, on a consistent level, there should be at least a 30-minute prep built into their day. Things happen, but in general, that should be there. Extra work during the school days. This is just to kind of be a little bit clearer in this, that they can be assigned, anybody can be assigned to expect to participate in advising or supervising activity, which could be like an in-school performance or assembly. And then the only thing that would we'd have to think about within that is if there's some other reason that in our handbook would say that, somebody should be paid for this extra work. What that is alluding to is there may be our music teachers may have a stipend for providing performances, things like that, which that's constantly worked on. And I think we're going to have to work on that this year again, just to make sure that that's keeping up. But what this is saying is that in general, we want to make sure work is equitable throughout a school or our system, and that sometimes people will be asked to just supervise something out of the norm, and that's okay unless it fits again within some other languages in the handbook that is clearly stated. So I'll end this presentation with just, I appreciate the work from the feedback group that I met with during the summer. This is helping us kind of get clearer on this as we go. And we know that there's always work to do on handbooks, but this was a nice conversation to make sure we were clear. And again, we have some work to do after this, and we'll continue to do that. But for now, this language I'm proposing for approval for the school board on the August 13th, 2026 school board meeting. Thank you.